some words of wisdom from Mr. Know-It-All.
To know God personally as your Lord and Savior, to follow Him, to walk with Him. And that's really a sign of self-righteousness. And that any explanation other than God for how we got here is
totally illogical.
Based on hearsay, it's based on lies, false information, faulty reasoning.
You're about to discover whose reasoning about the law and morality is really faulty here.
That Shawn is a liar.
Thou shalt not lie.
No integrity, no honor.
You know, it is wrong to lie. Thank you for confirming a moral absolute. Thus saith the Lord, thou shalt not lie.
Today, the 5th of January 2010, I received notification from YouTube that 5 of my videos had been DMCA'd by none other than VenomFangX.
My username on YouTube is VenomFangX, and I am here to express my regret for the misuse of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Doesn't anybody believe me?
To serve takedown notices in relation to a number of Thunderfoot's videos on YouTube. When I served the notices, I did not have a clear understanding of what I was doing or the potential consequences of my actions.
So let me get this straight, Shawn. You've apologized. You have apologized. Whereas in your previous video, you were all high and mighty, and less than 24 hours later, you're on your knees apologizing to dprJones in the most blatantly false terms possible, since it almost exactly mirrors the apology that you did for Thunderfoot a year and a half ago. And your apology is totally transparent anyway. It's a double feint. You don't really mean to apologize. You just want to get the heat off. You want to give yourself later on, when it does come to court, you want to say, oh, I tried to resolve it amicably. What a bunch of shit. You are as transparent as glass, Shawn, and you deserve what's going to happen to you. Now, when I say that, that's not aggressive. I don't think any sane, rational person wishes you or your family any harm. But legal consequences, you have brought on yourself. An apology like that is not going to cut any ice.
Your liberty to throw your fist in the air should end where my face begins, and not where your God says so. Because if it did and I got raped, according to your God's morality, I would be forced to marry my rapist.
I mean, the first instance in the Bible of sin was when Adam and Eve decided to go against God's objective morality. The first sin in the Bible was actually relativistic morality.
We are still making mistakes, obviously, but we do continue to evolve with the purpose of creating a better, safer, more productive society.
Them deciding what they could do. That's the biggest sin, that's the first sin. And that's the cause of all sin, is people deciding what's right and wrong, apart from God telling them.
That is, unless you let dogma rule society, and we know how things go when that happens. Just take a look in the Middle East.
What to do, since God is the judge and the standard. As soon as we start deciding what's right and wrong and acting as our own gods, we're going to run into problems, especially on Judgment Day.
And Christians, they don't follow God's morality either, because if they did, they wouldn't oppose gay marriage. They would kill gay people, because that's what the Bible tells you to do.
So, Shawn, does a school principal act like his own God when he makes a rule against chewing gum in school?
There's a law back in my old school that we're not allowed to chew gum. I'm pretty sure that they didn't get that from the Bible.
And there are plenty of thou shalt nots that are not mentioned in the Bible, but you still obey them. It never says in the Bible, thou shalt not pee on thy neighbor's cat. And yet you don't do it, because that would be rude. Not to mention dangerous if you know anything about cats. It also doesn't say thou shalt not file false DMCA against thy neighbor, and yet you don't... Wait, that doesn't work, you do that.
Of course, men make laws. The question is, where did men get the idea of right and wrong? Now, did I ever say they got that from the Bible? No, I didn't. You see, if men didn't already know right from wrong, then when they opened a Bible, and the Bible said, this is wrong, we would say, what does wrong mean?
The Hebrew word for wrong got its meaning by being used metaphorically. It first meant going in the wrong direction.
This atheist writes, you know, Shawn, laws were not invented by the Bible. People have been writing and enforcing laws long before the Bible was ever written.
Moral codes existed way before Christianity.
You are not allowed to kill someone for no reason because we said so. We, the people, decided that was wrong. It doesn't have to be preordained decision of what is right and what is wrong. People can decide for themselves what others can and cannot do. If you don't obey them, you are punished accordingly. And when did I ever say that we get our laws from the Bible?
I think you said it in your last video, Shawn.
They're the same people who will turn around and point their finger at you and say, "You're bad for doing this," which sounds a lot like, "Thou shalt not do this. Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not murder." And they know where that comes from. And they don't like that one bit.
What are you saying? That atheists don't like laws against murder and theft? Or are you saying that we do not like the fact that these laws come from the Bible? No society, Christian or not, allows murder and theft. So it's no big deal that all the world's major religions got a few basic moral and legal precepts right. They wouldn't have survived if they hadn't. Some of the really nasty religious societies, the ones that practiced human sacrifice, they did either die out or change. It is survival of the fittest, and the right moral precepts keep a society alive.
It occurs to me the same people who will say you're stupid for believing in God will also turn around and point a finger at you and say you're wrong for doing this, that, or the other. When isn't morality also a vestige of our evolutionary history?
Yes, it is. And so is your liver, your opposable thumb, and your brain.
Aren't we beyond that now? Now that we look back and understand where it came from, can't we transcend it?
Can we transcend our livers? Not yet. Maybe in the distant future we'll have no need for livers because we'll be human brains and robot bodies. But even robots will need something like morality.
Since we know that it's just an illusion, essentially.
Is your liver an illusion? No. Just because something evolved doesn't make it an illusion.
I don't see how an atheist can accuse anyone of right or wrong because, number one, within the laws of nature, if everything is dictated by the laws of nature, they couldn't have done otherwise.
In the grand scheme of things, yes, you are nothing but the deterministic outcome of your genes and your environment and your upbringing. Yet this is the dumbest thing you've said because it sounds like the excuse of a sociopath for their crimes. It doesn't matter that you are a product of deterministic forces. A cancer is also the product of deterministic forces, but we don't show it any mercy because of that. We cut it out of us. With human beings, we first try to reason with them. We show mercy and explain the effects of their bad behavior. If that doesn't work, we have to resort to more drastic measures.
And then we've got this idea that morals are justified by how they benefit society.
Because our morality is evolving. We are learning from our mistakes. We realize that it is socially detrimental to regard other people as property. The purpose of morality shouldn't be to serve a god, but to better the society, which is exactly where the source of morality lies.
Now you've got to ask yourself, why is benefiting society moral or right?
You don't want murder to be considered moral, because you don't want to go outside and get stabbed to death.
You know, nature doesn't really care if humanity gets wiped out.
So, why doesn't God heal amputees? Because they don't deserve their arms. We deserve to die. That's what the Bible teaches.